Yo, what is good, y'all? Xeno 2.0 here, and let's get right into today's topic. I was sitting back and I was thinking about Xenoblade Chronicles X. Xenoblade Chronicles X is a game that is pretty much not played by a lot of people in the Xenoblade community, and that is due to the fact that it's stuck on the Wii U currently. Xenoblade Chronicles X is one of my favorite Xenoblade games of all time. I think it holds its weight as a Xenoblade title, but there's been a few discussion nowadays about Xenoblade Chronicles X. Now, pretty much the main thing that goes around is everyone wants a port. Everyone wants this game to be ported over to the Switch so that everyone could finally get their hands on this game. And now I think that would be an awesome thing. However, I do think that Xenoblade Chronicles X in the current state that it was made should not be ported to the Nintendo Switch. Instead, hear me out, should be remade into the original vision that Monolith had in store. Now, if you play Xenoblade Chronicles X, the main thing that was lacking about that game was its horrible tutorials, which is so known about every Xenoblade game except for 3, is the game did not really have a fleshed out, completed story. And that was due to the fact that the game felt pretty much rushed. From going from Xenoblade Chronicles to Xenoblade Chronicles X, it was a humongous step as far as its open world exploration. Now, the main thing that really was lacking was that story, and it was only due to the fact that it was cut so short. So one thing I really think that Xenoblade Chronicles X should happen on the Nintendo Switch is a reimagined, almost like a remake or the original vision that Monolith had. And I believe there are interviews talking about that, saying that they much rather have remade the game into the original vision that they wanted instead of just porting it over. And there's so many technical things that they talk about Xenoblade Chronicles X being so difficult to port over to the Nintendo Switch. I almost feel like eventually we'll get something X related. Now that we pretty much finished our trilogy and they have a new IP coming, who's to say they don't start working on Xenoblade Chronicles X stuff, if not even other spin-off Xenoblade or Xeno type game in the near future. Now, I don't remember the exact source this came from, but I believe it was in a data book or some interview. I believe it was like some French thing. I don't really remember. But Takahashi said something about wanting to make a Xenoblade Chronicles X2 in the future. So Xenoblade Chronicles X is probably in their mind. We just don't know when they're going to release it or when they're going to just make X to the forefront again. Now, I feel like now more than ever is a perfect time, now that we technically have all 3 of the trilogy Xenoblade games on the Nintendo Switch. The only game that's missing is Xenoblade Chronicles X, and I think the best way would not be to port it, it would be to remake it. And I think it would be best because we will all get a story. I remember when Xenoblade Chronicles X came out, the fan base wasn't really happy with it. And you know, the classic, one game comes out, the newer game comes out, everyone likes the older one more than the newer one. But Xenoblade Chronicles X, as far as its combat and exploration, really did build upon the first game. The only issue that was there was no story. However, Xenoblade Chronicles X is still a gem in my eyes. There's so much potential with that system, with that combat. It feels like an MMO RPG, if this even makes sense, but offline. It's so much more than what the first game did. The way you could run around, the exploration, having a scale on some code Geass. It's so awesome how they made Xenoblade Chronicles X. And I think a lot of people to this day think that Xenoblade Chronicles X is the game that really expanded the series as far as gameplay, because it's insane how much you can do and it's insane how much is in that game despite it not having DLC or anything. It really holds its weight. Also, judging by what the poll says on my channel, you guys are really on board with the remake. I feel like most people who have played Xenoblade Chronicles X really do see why this needs to be remade more than a port. And I don't say that because, oh, I just don't want the same game to be on the Nintendo Switch. It's nothing like that. I still bought Definitive Edition, and I'm sure if Xenoblade Chronicles X was ported, it would get some sort of bonus to its story. At least I hope it would, and that would be very good, because Xenoblade Chronicles X, I don't want to spoil too much, but it kind of left us wanting more. It wasn't enough, and the game didn't feel too much like a complete story. So let's just say that. Now, we don't even know if X is somewhat connected to the numbered Xenoblade games. We did see some art showing Elmo, Rex, and Shulk, but that could have just been nice art to show that this is Xenoblade and you already know what they do with their art. It would be very interesting. The one thing I did see that was very similar to Xenoblade Chronicles X, that's actually in Xenoblade Chronicles 3, besides its Fullmetal Jaguar and all those subtle little references, was the fact that the origin was very similar to the Lifehold in Xenoblade Chronicles X. I don't want to go into spoiler territory, but let's just say it's very similar as far as keeping the data of the humans on Earth. I think it's very, very cool how that kind of was a slight reference. Now, one thing that is in X that's also in a previous Xenoblade game is a Telethia, and we don't know how that happened. Could it be that somehow the data of whatever world that's in somehow whoosh? We don't know much of it, but the Telethia is something that people really overlook in Xenoblade Chronicles X, and I don't know why. It's actually, in my opinion, what could be the key to showing how they are connected. But we don't know, and we don't even know why the Telethia is there to begin with. That's all I have to say on this topic. I don't want to get into this whole theory stuff, but I do think that Xenoblade Chronicles X being remade would be very, very good and a smart move for all Xenoblade fans. Not only will we get a crazy open world exploration type game, we would also get a very, very good story, and I think that is so awesome. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want more Xenoblade Chronicles talks. I really do appreciate the love on the channel, and I'm so happy to show my nice little new profile picture of somebody making a chibi of my Xenoblade X character. I thought that was really, really cool. I shouted him out on Twitter. All love. Well, with that being said, you guys have a good one, y'all. See ya.